The silent sentinels. The skies above Nova's Haven remained silent, just as they had for the past century and a half. Stars glittered in the night, distant and cold, indifferent to the small human colony that had carved out an existence on this harsh frontier world. Commander Elias Vance stood on the observation platform of the colony's main complex, his weathered face turned upward as it often was during the quiet hours when his duties permitted such moments of reflection. "Another night without visitors," said a voice behind him. 153 years of silence from the stars. Vance turned to see his second-in-command, Dr. Layla Reeves, approaching with her ever-present data tablet. The colony's chief scientist had been born here, like most of Nova's Haven's 5,000 residents. Unlike Vance, who had been just a child when the colony ships arrived, Layla had never seen Earth, never witnessed its fall. "Silence is safety," Vance replied, the colony's unofficial motto coming easily to his lips. "The Dominion believes we're extinct. Let's keep it that way." But even as he spoke the words, doubt gnawed at him. For generations, the colony had hidden on this world at the edge of a forgotten star system, erasing all traces of their technology signature, building their settlements inside mountains and beneath the planet's surface, all to avoid detection by the Dominion, the merciless alien coalition that had declared humanity too dangerous to exist among the civilized species of the galaxy. Layla leaned against the railing beside him, her expression troubled. "We can't hide forever, Commander. The mineral deposits we rely on are depleting. The aquifer levels dropped another 2% this month, and the last council meeting." "I know," Vance cut her off, not wanting to hear the colony's problems enumerated again. As leader of Nova's Haven, those challenges haunted his every waking moment. The northern settlement needs to be relocated. Medical supplies are running low. The terraforming project is behind schedule. He ran a hand through his graying hair. "Sometimes I wonder if we're just prolonging the inevitable. If maybe our ancestors made the wrong choice by running. As opposed to what? Being exterminated with the rest of humanity." Layla's voice softened. "Elias, we're here because they refused to surrender. Because they believed humanity deserved a future." Their conversation was interrupted by the chime of Vance's communicator. He tapped the device embedded in his wrist. "Go ahead." "Commander, you're needed in the archive immediately." The voice of his security chief, Karen Ortiz, carried an unusual edge. "We found something. Something big." "On my way," Vance replied, exchanging a glance with Layla before they both headed for the lift that would take them deep into the mountain. The archive was Nova's Haven's most closely guarded secret, a vast chamber housing the colony's original navigation systems, communication arrays, and defense protocols. Equipment that had been powered down for over a century, deemed too risky to use with Dominion sensor networks sweeping the galaxy for signs of human technology. Kieran was waiting for them at the archive's entrance, his tall frame tense with what Vance recognized as barely contained excitement. "What did you find?" Vance asked as they walked through the dimly lit corridors. "It started with the Deep Space Monitoring Array," Kieran explained. "The passive system we've kept running on minimal power. 2 days ago, it detected an anomaly at the edge of the system." "What kind of anomaly?" Layla asked, immediately alert. "A ship, but not Dominion." Kieran led them into the main chamber where the ancient systems glowed with more life than Vance had ever seen. A holographic display showed the solar system with a blinking marker near the outermost planet. "It's been holding position there, broadcasting on an encrypted frequency that—" He paused, looking at Vance with an expression of disbelief. "It's human, Commander. A human encryption protocol from before the fall." Vance stared at the display, stunned into silence. After generations of isolation, after accepting that they were likely the last of their kind in the galaxy, a ship, a human ship. "That's impossible," Layla whispered. "Earth fell. The colonies were hunted down. There's no one left but us." "Not according to this," said Kieran, gesturing to another screen where a sequence of code scrolled past. This is the decrypted message they've been broadcasting for the past 48 hours. It's a first contact protocol. They're looking for survivors. Could it be a trap? Vance asked, the weight of the colony's safety heavy on his shoulders. The Dominion could have salvaged human technology, learned our protocols. I don't think so, Karen replied. The message contains verification codes that would be meaningless to anyone who didn't understand human military history. And look at this. He pulled up an image of the vessel. It was unmistakably of human design, but unlike anything in the colony's historical records. Sleek and dangerous looking, bristling with what appeared to be advanced weapon systems. They're calling it the Harbinger, Karen added, and they're requesting permission to approach. The council chamber erupted into chaos when Vance presented the findings. 12 elected representatives from the colony's districts shouted over one another, some demanding immediate contact, others insisting they maintain their silence at all costs. Order. Vance finally called out, his voice cutting through the din. This decision affects every soul in Novus Haven. We will consider it carefully. Elder Sato, the oldest council member and one of the few remaining colonists who had been born on Earth, spoke up. For generations, we have survived by hiding, by becoming invisible. To reveal ourselves now, even to potential allies, risks everything we've built. And if we stay hidden, countered Talia Mercer, representative from the agriculture district, our resources are strained. Our population growth is unsustainable without expansion. We need new technologies, new ideas. Perhaps this ship brings them. Or perhaps, said Sato grimly, they'd bring the attention of the Dominion down upon us all. The debate continued for hours. Vance listened to every argument, measuring the weight of each perspective against the colony's survival. By the time the council session ended, night had fallen again, and a decision had been reached. Standing once more on the observation platform, Vance looked to the stars and gave a command that would forever change their fate. Send the response signal. Invite them to approach. 3 days later, Vance stood with a small security team on the surface of Novus Haven for the first time in nearly a decade. The colony's emergency landing field, a flat area cleared but never used, stretched before them. The air was cold, the wind bitter against his face, but Vance barely noticed as the dark shape of the Harbinger descended from the clouds. The ship was massive, far larger than it had appeared in the holographic projections. Its hull bore the scars of battle, yet it moved with precision as it touched down 100 meters from the welcoming party. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then a hatch opened in the side of the vessel, a ramp extended, and 5 figures emerged. They wore armored suits unlike anything in the colony's archives, sleek and functional. 4 carried weapons at their sides but kept them holstered. The 5th, who walked slightly ahead, removed her helmet as she approached. Commander Elias Vance, she called out, her voice carrying easily across the distance. Vance stepped forward, away from his security team. I am. The woman smiled, a tired smile, but genuine. Her face was weathered but not old, with alert eyes that seemed to assess everything around her. Captain Maya Reyna of the Earth Defense Force vessel Harbinger. We've been looking for you for a long time. Vance felt a chill that had nothing to do with the wind. Earth Defense Force. Earth fell nearly 2 centuries ago. Earth fell, Captain Reyna acknowledged, but humanity did not. Not entirely. She gestured to her ship. The Harbinger is one of 7 vessels that escaped the initial Dominion purge. We've been in deep space, gathering survivors, building strength. For what purpose? Vance asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Captain Reyna's expression hardened. To reclaim what was taken from us. To return home. The meeting moved to the colony's council chamber. Captain Reyna brought only 2 officers with her. Her tactical officer, Commander Julian Cade, and her chief science officer, Dr. Asha Senator. The colonists could not stop staring at these visitors from beyond their isolated world, these representatives of a humanity that had continued to fight rather than hide. After Earth fell, the Dominion declared victory. Captain Reyna explained, accepting a cup of the colony's bitter herbal tea. They told the galaxy that humanity had been contained, a dangerous species neutralized before it could threaten the peaceful order of civilized worlds. That's the history we know, Vance said. It's the history they wanted known, Reyna corrected. The truth is more complex. Humanity wasn't exiled because we were violent or dangerous. We were exiled because we were becoming too influential, too innovative. Our technology was evolving too quickly for the comfort of the Dominion leadership. Dr. Sen, a tall woman with intricate braids pulled back from her face, activated a holographic display that showed various technological schematics. Particularly in the field of faster-than-light communication, the Dominion maintains control through information restriction. Our breakthrough in quantum entanglement communications would have made their censorship impossible. So they eliminated us, Layla said quietly, not because we were a threat to peace, but because we were a threat to their power. Commander Cade finished. Yes. Captain Reyna continued. 7 ships escaped Earth's fall. We've spent generations in the shadows, finding other survivors, building our strength. The Harbinger has been awakened for 20 years, searching for colonies like yours. And you found others? Vance asked. 11 so far, she replied. Some thriving, some struggling. All hidden, all isolated, until now. Elder Sato, who had been silent until this point, spoke up. If what you say is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why risk exposing all these colonies you've discovered? Captain Reyna's gaze was steady. Because we found something that changes everything. Something the Dominion has kept hidden for nearly 2 centuries. She nodded to Dr. Sen, who adjusted the holographic display. The image shifted to show what appeared to be a massive space station of unusual design, partially integrated with an asteroid. This is Archive Station Mnemosyne, Dr. Sen explained. A repository of human knowledge and technology that was believed destroyed during the fall. We discovered it 6 months ago, hidden in an uncharted system and protected by ancient automated defenses. The station contains complete records of human history, culture, and technological development, Reyna added. But more importantly, it houses the Phoenix Protocol, a comprehensive plan developed by Earth's Final Defense Council for the eventual restoration of humanity to the galactic stage. Vance leaned forward, his heart racing. You're talking about war against the Dominion, an enemy that controls thousands of worlds, millions of ships. I'm talking about justice, Reyna replied firmly. And about survival. The Dominion hasn't stopped looking for us. They've just been taking their time, believing we're no threat scattered across the stars. She stood and approached Vance, her eyes intense. We're not asking you to fight. Not yet. We're asking you to join us, to share knowledge, resources, people, to become part of something larger than a single hidden colony. Vance looked around the council chamber, seeing the fear, hope, and uncertainty in the faces of his people. The Harbinger had brought more than just visitors. It had brought a choice that would change their world forever. We need time to consider this, he said finally. Captain Reyna nodded. You have until morning. Then we must leave, with or without your answer. That night, Vance walked through the heart of the colony, moving between the carved stone halls that had been home for generations. He passed young children who had never seen the stars up close, engineers who maintained technology they hadn't fully understood in decades, elders who still remembered Earth's blue skies. When he reached the colony's memorial wall, where the names of those who had made the journey from Earth were inscribed, he stopped, tracing his fingers over his parents' names. What would you have done? He whispered to the stone. By morning, his decision was made. The colony had survived by hiding, by becoming invisible, but survival wasn't enough anymore. Humanity deserved more than just to exist in the shadows. 117 colonists volunteered to join the Harbinger's crew. Vance stood among them, watching Novus Haven shrink to a distant speck through the observation window as the ship accelerated away from the planet. Captain Reyna joined him there, her expression understanding. It's never easy to leave home. Novus Haven was where we survived, Vance replied. But it was never meant to be our final destination. The Harbinger's engines hummed as they prepared for the jump to faster-than-light travel. Ahead lay other colonies, the mysterious archive station, and eventually, a reckoning with the power that had tried to erase humanity from the stars. Vance felt something he hadn't experienced in years, purpose beyond mere survival. The long silence of humanity's exile was ending, and it had started with the arrival of one warship. Reclamation. The Harbinger moved through the void between stars, its advanced engines pushing it to speeds Vance had only read about in the colony's ancient technical manuals. 2 weeks had passed since they'd left Novus Haven, and he was still adjusting to life aboard a warship. The vessel's interior surprised him, not cold and utilitarian as he had expected, but alive with purpose. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, their interactions marked by a camaraderie forged through years of shared mission. The ship housed nearly 300 personnel from various rescued colonies, each bringing unique skills and perspectives shaped by generations of isolation. Vance stood in the Harbinger's tactical center, watching as Captain Reyna briefed her officers on their approach to Archive Station Mnemosyne. A holographic representation of the station rotated slowly above the central table, revealing its unusual design, part constructed habitat, part hollowed asteroid. The station's automated defenses have been partially reactivated, Reyna explained, highlighting sections of the structure. Dr. Sen's team has established limited communication with the AI systems, but will need to board and complete the activation protocols manually. What exactly are we looking for at this archive? Vance asked. Though he had been granted provisional status as a liaison for the Novus Haven volunteers, he was still learning the full scope of the Harbinger's mission. Commander Cade answered, "The Phoenix Protocol contains more than just military strategies. It includes complete schematics for technologies that were in development when Earth fell, advancements that would give us the edge we need. But more importantly," Captain Reyna added, "it houses the Echo Network." Vance had heard this term mentioned several times since coming aboard, but had yet to learn its significance. The Echo Network. Dr. Sen stepped forward, adjusting her spectacles, an affectation from a colony where corrective surgery hadn't been available. In the final days before Earth's fall, our ancestors managed to seed hundreds of automated communication relays throughout unexplored regions of the galaxy. Dormant systems designed to activate when receiving the proper signal sequence. A communication network the Dominion doesn't know about, Vance realized, the implications dawning on him. One that could unite all surviving human colonies instantly. "Precisely," Captain Reyna said with a nod. "But the activation codes and coordination systems are stored only in the archive station's core memory banks. Without them, we're limited to finding colonies one by one, risking detection with each new contact." The tactical center's doors slid open as Layla entered, accompanied by Mirai Chen, one of the Harbinger's navigation specialists. The two had been working together since departing Novus Haven, with Layla's knowledge of stellar cartography proving invaluable to the ship's mission. "Captain," Mirai said, "we've detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the system. They match known patterns of Dominion scout vessels." A hush fell over the tactical center. If the Dominion had somehow discovered the archive station after all these years, everything would be at risk. Captain Reyna's expression remained calm, though Vance noticed her hands tighten momentarily on the edge of the display table. "Adjust approach vector. Take us in through the asteroid field. Silent running protocols." As the Harbinger altered course, slipping deeper into the dense field of rocky debris that surrounded the station, Vance moved beside Layla. "Do you think they're here for the archive?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," she replied, her voice equally low. "But Mirai showed me the sensor logs. These aren't regular patrol patterns. They're searching for something specific." 12 tense hours later, the Harbinger docked with Archive Station Mnemosyne, connecting to an ancient airlock that had remained sealed for nearly 2 centuries. Captain Reyna assembled a boarding team that included Vance, Layla, and several specialists from the Harbinger's crew. They wore lightweight environmental suits, not for life support, but to protect against potential biological contamination in either direction. The station's been in isolation since Earth's fall, Dr. Sen explained as they prepared to board. We don't know what kind of microorganisms might have evolved in a closed system for so long. The airlock cycled, ancient mechanisms groaning but still functional, as the inner doors slid open, revealing a darkened corridor beyond. Vance felt a shiver of anticipation that had nothing to do with the station's cool air. They were about to step into a piece of humanity's past, perhaps the last untouched fragment of the civilization that had been lost. Power levels at 20%, reported one of the engineers, consulting a portable scanner. Life support functional but minimal. The station's been operating on emergency power since the fall, I guess. They moved deeper into the station, helmet-mounted lights sweeping across dust-covered consoles and abandoned workstations. The corridors were wide, designed with the efficiency that had characterized human space habitats. Occasionally, they passed viewports that offered glimpses of the asteroid field beyond, rocks tumbling silently in the void. "It feels like a tomb," Layla whispered, her voice carrying through the comm system. "Not a tomb," Captain Reyna corrected. "A seed vault." She gestured toward a door at the end of the corridor. "The Central Archive should be through there." The Central Archive was a vast, circular chamber dominated by a central column of technology that reached from floor to ceiling. Rings of data storage systems surrounded it, with workstations positioned at regular intervals. It was an analog design, physical storage rather than the quantum systems that had become standard before the fall. They built it this way to survive an electromagnetic pulse, Dr. Sen explained, already moving toward one of the workstations. Hardened systems, isolated networks. The kind of technology that could survive the end of a civilization. As the engineering team began the delicate process of bringing the archive systems online, Vance circled the chamber, running his gloved fingers over consoles that had last been touched by humans who had known Earth was about to fall. What had they felt, these last archivists, preserving humanity's knowledge while their world burned? A soft hum filled the chamber as the central column began to glow, lights activating in sequence from bottom to top. Displays flickered to life, codes and data streams appearing on screens that had been dark for generations. "Connection established," Dr. Sen announced. "The Archive's eye is awakening." The holographic projector at the center of the room activated, light coalescing into the figure of a woman in the formal uniform of Earth's pre-fall scientific authority. Though obviously an artificial construct, her appearance was startlingly lifelike. "Archive Station Nenoscene online," the figure stated, her voice clear and precisely modulated. "Identity verification required for access to restricted systems." Captain Reyna stepped forward. "Captain Maya Reyna, Earth Defense Force Vessel Harbinger. Authorization Phoenix, 7 Delta Echo." The AI figure regarded her for a long moment, then nodded. "Voice pattern and authorization code accepted. Welcome, Captain. The Archive has waited 176 years, 4 months, and 23 days for retrieval." "We had some obstacles to overcome," Reyna replied with a grim smile. "The Dominion incursion," the AI acknowledged. "My sensors have detected their vessels at the perimeter of this system. Time is limited before they discover this installation." Vance exchanged alarmed glances with Layla. The AI seemed to possess current information despite having been dormant for so long. "The Archive has maintained passive monitoring capabilities," the holographic woman explained, apparently noticing their reaction. "Limited drone networks have gathered intelligence on Dominion movements for decades, though power conservation protocols prevented active countermeasures." "We need to access the Phoenix Protocol," Captain Reyna said, "and activate the Echo network." "Understood." The eye waved a hand, and the displays around the chamber changed, showing maps of the galaxy with countless points of light scattered throughout. "The Echo network remains intact. 173 relay nodes are operational. 42 have detected potential human technological signatures, but have remained dormant as programmed. 42 colonies. Layla breathed. There are 42 more human settlements out there. At minimum, the AI confirmed, the network can only detect specific technological signatures within limited range of each relay node. There may be others too distant or using technology too divergent to register. While Dr. Sen's team began the complex process of downloading the archive's data, Commander Cade approached Vance with a concerned expression. The Dominion ships are moving closer. We need to accelerate our timeline. Can't we just transfer everything to the Harbinger and leave? Vance asked. Cade shook his head. The complete archive would overload our storage systems 10 times over. We need to be selective, take what we need most urgently, and hope we can return for the rest. Their discussion was interrupted by an alert from the station's sensors. A new vessel had entered the system, not bearing Dominion signatures, but something else entirely. Unknown ship approaching, announced one of the Harbinger's officers through the comm. It's broadcasting. It's broadcasting a first contact protocol. Not human, not Dominion. Captain Reyna's expression darkened. On screen, a display activated, showing an elegant vessel of unfamiliar design. Smooth, organic curves contrasted with angular propulsion systems that glowed with a soft blue light. Text scrolled beneath the image, a translation of the incoming message. To human survivors at Archive Station Mnemosyne. We are the Kithrane expeditionary vessel Whispered Truth. We come in peace and offer alliance against our common enemy. The Dominion ships approaching are not aware of your presence, but soon will be. We can help. For several tense moments, no one spoke. Then Captain Reyna made a decision that would alter the course of their mission. Open a channel, she ordered. Let's hear what they have to say. The Kithrane delegation arrived an hour later, their shuttle docking with the Archive Station's secondary port. Captain Reyna, Commander Cade, and Vance waited to greet them, weapons holstered but readily accessible. Trust was a luxury they couldn't afford. The airlock opened to reveal 3 beings unlike any Vance had seen before. Tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shift colors like the surface of oil on water, the Kithrane moved with a fluid grace that made them appear almost weightless. Their features were vaguely humanoid. 2 eyes, a central facial structure that might be called a nose, mouth-like openings, but the similarities ended there. The leader stepped forward, placing a 4-fingered hand across its chest in what appeared to be a formal greeting. I am Sentinel Captain Theris of the Kithrane Expeditionary Fleet. I bring greetings from the Kithrane Conclave and an overdue apology. Apology? Captain Reyna asked, her posture still wary. For our inaction during the fall of Earth, Theris replied, voice melodious despite the translation device converting the words to human language. The Kithrane were among those who opposed the Dominion's purge of humanity, but our opposition was insufficient. We spoke when we should have acted. Commander Cade's hand remained near his weapon. That was a long time ago. Why seek us out now? Because the Dominion's power grows unchecked. Another of the Kithrane said, stepping forward. This one's skin rippled with deeper blues and greens. I am Scholar Emissary Neris. For generations, we have watched as the Dominion has expanded its influence, subjugating species that once were equal members of the galactic community. Captain Reyna studied them for a long moment before speaking. How did you find this station? We have been tracking Dominion search patterns for decades, Theris explained. They have never ceased hunting for human survivors, though they conceal this from most of their own people. When we detected increased Dominion activity in this sector, we investigated and found energy signatures consistent with ancient human technology. And now? Vance asked. What exactly are you offering? Alliance, said the 3rd Kithrane, who had remained silent until now. I am War Strategist Lorith. The Dominion scout fleet approaching this station will detect your presence within hours. We offer immediate tactical support, and beyond that, a formal alliance between the Kithrane Conclave and surviving humanity. The Archive's eye, who had been monitoring the exchange, spoke up. Historical records confirm Kithrain opposition to the purge. Their diplomatic archives were among the last to communicate with Earth before communications were severed. Captain Reyna made her decision. We don't have the luxury of refusing help right now, but a formal alliance will require discussion with representatives from all the colonies we've contacted. Understood, Theris replied with a gesture that might have been their equivalent of a nod. For now, let us address the immediate threat. The Dominion vessels will be in sensor range within 3 hours. We have a proposal. While the Kithrain and the Harbinger's tactical team developed their plan, Vance found himself drawn back to the archive's central chamber. The holographic AI had resumed displaying the galactic map, with the Echo Network relay points glowing softly against the spiral arms of the Milky Way. 42 colonies, he murmured, still awed by the number. After believing for so long that Novus Haven might be the last remnant of humanity, the revelation of so many others was overwhelming. Plus the 11 we've already contacted, said Layla, joining him at the display. We're not as extinct as the Dominion wanted to believe. The question is, Vance replied, what do we do with that knowledge? Captain Reyna talks about reclamation, about justice. But is war against the Dominion even possible? The AI, apparently monitoring their conversation, responded. The Phoenix Protocol was never solely a military strategy. Its primary directive was the preservation and eventual restoration of human civilization, by whatever means necessary. What does that mean exactly? Vance asked. It means, said Captain Reyna, entering the chamber with the Kithrain delegation, that we have options beyond direct confrontation. The protocol includes diplomatic initiatives, technological leverage points, and strategic alliances, like with the Kithrain, Layla suggested. And others, Sentinel Captain Theris added. The Dominion's control is built on information manipulation and resource monopolies. Many species chafe under their rule but lack the means to resist. Humanity's return could be the catalyst for change. War strategist Loreth approached the display, gesturing to a particular section of the map. The Dominion scout fleet approaching is searching for something specific. We believe they detected transmissions from this station when your ship's arrival triggered its higher power functions. They'll reach optimal sensor range in less than 2 hours, Commander Cade reported, joining them. Dr. Sen's team has secured the most critical data, including the Echo Network activation protocols. Then it's time to implement our plan, Captain Reyna said. She turned to Vance and Layla. I need you both to return to the Harbinger. Take the data and the Novus Haven volunteers and prepare for immediate departure. You're not coming with us? Vance asked, suddenly concerned. Not immediately, she replied. The Kithrain vessel will create a diversion, drawing the Dominion scouts away. Meanwhile, I'll remain here with a skeleton crew to fully activate the Archive's defensive systems. Once operational, they should be able to protect the station long enough for us to return with reinforcements. That's too risky, Layla protested. If the Dominion realizes what this place is, they'll commit everything to destroying it. Reyna finished for her, which is why we can't let them discover it. The Archive is too valuable to lose. It may be the key to humanity's future. Before Vance could argue further, alarms blared throughout the station. The AI's voice cut through the noise. Alert. Dominion vessels have altered course. Estimated time to sensor range, 37 minutes. They must have detected something. Commander Cade said grimly. We're out of time. The next hour passed in controlled chaos as the boarding team split into 2 groups. Vance found himself aboard the Harbinger, watching through the viewport as the Kithrain vessel moved into position, its sleek form almost predatory against the backdrop of stars. Harbinger, this is Captain Reyna. Her voice came through the comm system. Archive defenses at 60% and rising. Prepare for jump on my mark. On the tactical display, Vance could see the Dominion scout vessels, 5 of them, moving in formation toward the asteroid field. They were still too distant to have detected the station, but their trajectory was too precise to be coincidence. They know something's here, Commander Cade muttered beside him. They just don't know exactly what. The Kithrane ship suddenly accelerated, its engines flaring brilliantly as it emerged from the asteroid field on a course that would take it directly past the Dominion scouts. Almost immediately, the Dominion formation broke, 3 vessels peeling off to pursue the Kithrane. Diversion successful, reported the tactical officer. 3 Dominion vessels in pursuit of the whispered truth. 2 continuing toward the archive. Still too many, Cade said. The station's defenses aren't fully operational yet. The comm crackled again. Harbinger, archive station. Defenses at 78%. Not enough time to reach full capacity. Captain Reyna's voice was tense but controlled, implementing secondary protocol. Before anyone could ask what she meant, a series of explosions blossomed silently in the asteroid field. Dozens of the larger rocks began to move, thrusters firing as ancient automated systems came online. What is that? Layla asked, staring at the display in amazement. The Archive's defensive perimeter, Commander Cade explained. Those asteroids are weaponized, mobile platforms concealed centuries ago. The 2 remaining Dominion scouts slowed as their sensors detected the movement, clearly uncertain how to respond to this unexpected development. Their hesitation was brief. Within moments, they split up, one continuing toward the archive, while the other turned to engage the nearest asteroid platforms. Harbinger, you are cleared for jump. Captain Reyna's voice came through again. We'll hold them here. Rendezvous at coordinates Nova Echo 7 in 48 hours. Commander Cade looked torn, clearly reluctant to leave his captain behind. But the mission had to take priority. Acknowledged. Archive station. Jump preparations complete.